you're driving. Same road you drive every day. Hands on the wheel, eyes on the taillights ahead of you. And somewhere around the second red light, you're not there anymore. You're in a different car, on a different road, walking into a room where people actually turn when you walk in. You know their names, their laughs, exactly what you say and how they respond. Because you've run this scene enough times to know every line by heart. You've won arguments with people who don't exist. You've had a whole career happen in there. A promotion. A moment where someone finally says you were right about that. None of it happened, and somehow you remember it like it did. If that felt a little too specific, it's because a lot of people are doing exactly this right now, in the middle of ordinary things. It's not one scene on repeat either, it's a whole cast. The version where you finally say the thing to the person who hurt you, and this time they actually hear it. The version where you're respected at work in a way you've never quite felt for real. The version where you're just easier, funnier, more at ease, nobody watching you overthink a text for 20 minutes. Some people even have a person in there, an entire relationship with someone who doesn't exist, complete with inside jokes only one of them will ever laugh at. So here's the real question. Not, is this weird? It's not. Why does a brain go to the trouble of building an entire life it knows isn't real? Somewhere along the way, your brain figured out something uncomfortable. The real world wasn't going to hand you a certain feeling on demand. Being understood, being in control, being wanted in a room without earning it first. Reality is slow and inconsistent. Imagination isn't. It hands you the feeling immediately, with zero risk attached. So the brain builds a workaround. Sometimes it's escape. Sometimes it's rehearsal, running a hard conversation until the real one feels less dangerous. Sometimes it's control, in a life where almost nothing actually is. Sometimes it's connection, from someone who never lets you down because you're writing both sides. And sometimes it's simpler, just trying on a version of you that you don't get to be yet. Confident, chosen, taken seriously. None of that makes you broken. That's a brain solving a real problem with the only tool lying around. And on its own, this isn't a problem. You rehearse the hard conversation before you have it. Athletes visualize the shot before they take it. That's not a red flag. It's preparation. The problem starts somewhere specific. Not when you imagine something. When the imagined version starts winning against the real one. Because in that version, you're never awkward. The people already like you. You don't have to risk finding out if they will. And the real world can't compete with that. It's not supposed to. It doesn't let you write both sides of the conversation or guarantee the ending before you've said a word. So little by little, the imagined life starts getting more of your hours. Not because you're avoiding reality on purpose, because reality is just slower to reward you. And that's where it can quietly turn into something else. Some people rehearse a conversation with someone so many times in their head, they never actually have it out loud. It already feels done. Some people build a relationship so fully in their imagination that a real one feels flat by comparison. Some people just lose stretches of time they can't fully account for. That's the actual cost. Not that you have an imagination, that the imagined version quietly started doing the job the real one was supposed to do. To be clear, this isn't losing touch with reality. You know the whole time you're at a red light, not walking into that room. What gets blurry isn't reality. It's which version of your life you'd rather spend your hours inside of. But here's the part almost everyone misses. The fantasy was never really about the fantasy. Nobody randomly imagines someone who finally listens without interrupting. You imagine that because somewhere you don't feel listened to. Nobody randomly imagines walking into a room and being immediately respected. You imagine that because some part of you doesn't feel that in the room you're actually standing in. The imagined life isn't random, it's specific. And specific means it's pointing at something real. Maybe the fictional relationship isn't asking you to find that exact person, it's telling you what real connection is supposed to feel like, and that you haven't had enough of it. Maybe the imagined success isn't about the title. It's telling you that you need your effort to count for something, to someone. Maybe the version of you that's finally confident isn't a fantasy character at all. It might be the actual you, one you haven't given yourself permission to become yet. So maybe you were never obsessed with the imaginary life. Maybe you were obsessed with what that life made you feel. That feeling didn't come out of nowhere. It's a message, not a malfunction. Which brings you back to the road. Same wheel, same red light, same ordinary Tuesday. Except now you know what your mind was actually doing while you sat there. It wasn't wasting time. It was showing you, in vivid detail, exactly what it thinks is missing, and exactly what it thinks you're capable of if you ever stopped rehearsing it and started living it. Maybe the imagined life was never asking to be lived exactly like that. Maybe it was just trying to tell you what your real one is missing. If any part of this sounded a little too familiar, tell me which part in the comments. I read every one,